Thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV News and we're broadcasting live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. Our headlines this evening, we hear how the Gambia Armed Forces contribute to national security before, during and after elections. The UNDP is spearheading moves to tap into the enormous potential of Sahel region countries, including the Gambia. We hear about the launch of the Sahel offer. We hear about the contrast in negotiating traffic in the Gambia on public holidays compared to normal working days. And in international news, a fire has caused death, injury and devastation at a prison in Burundi. And in sports news, the new football season may have kicked off, but we hear that many old problems remain. And also in sports, Gambia's under-20 women's football team got their two-legged World Cup qualifier off to a bad start with a loss away to Morocco. But for more on these and other stories coming up, I am Ansmane Sonyase. And now we take a look at the news in detail. As part of its contribution to the maintenance of peace during and after the December 4th election, the Gambia Armed Forces launched an operation to spur public confidence and security across the country. More in this report. On Dalal Hel, this exercise is aimed at complementing sister forces such as the police in strengthening security around the country during and after the elections, and to give confidence to the public, hence the name of the operation, Dalal Hel, a popular phrase in the local Wolof dialect meaning peace of mind. Known for his uncompromising stance against involvement in politics by members of the armed forces, Chief of Defence Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Yakuba A. Drame, says GAF remains resolute in its drive to ensure a peaceful and safe Gambia for all, and renews his call for members of the armed forces to stay away from politics.
Was this very important subject of soldiers to stay away from politics? It was made vehemently clear. Politics and this fine job we call the military cannot work closely. It's either you serve exclusively in the military to serve your country with loyalty, dedication to duties, high sense of responsibility, diligence, with good morals and behaviors and discipline, and of course integrity. And that is what this fine profession calls for.
Lieutenant Colonel Obi Bojang, commanding officer of Operation Dalal Hel, and Lieutenant Colonel A. Jata, Director of Operations of GAF, respectively, commended members of the public for their continued support to GAF, adding that this operation is here to help provide the much-needed security during and after the elections.
Before the election, during the election, and after the election. And the essence of us going out as part of the patrol is to ensure that we give enough confidence to the civilians to know that the Gambia Armed Forces is still alive and operational, and also to support them in case there is any doubt.
This is a clear manifestation of the security sector reform. We must thank the Gambia Police Force for their job in the nomination and the campaign period to the election period.
The duration of this important operation is not yet known. However, GAF High Command hopes it will help strengthen security and promote peaceful coexistence. The Gambia Armed Forces, also known as the Armed Forces of the Gambia, consists of three branches: the Gambia National Army, the Gambia Navy, and the Republican National Guards. Since the change of government in 2016, GAF has embarked on a series of programs and operations as part of its drive to reform the force. Ansmane Sonyase for QTV News. Now, the UNDP on Wednesday held a virtual national launching of its Integrated Development Strategy for the Sahel, a flagship initiative committed to converting problems into a promise and turning challenges into opportunities for Sahel countries. Mahmoud Lamin Choi reports.
The Sahel is a 5,000-kilometer strip of land below the Sahara Desert on the African continent, stretching from Africa's Atlantic coast to the Red Sea. It comprises 10 African countries, including the Gambia. According to the United Nations, the region has, in the past decade, lived through the consequences of armed conflict, political instability and poverty, with food insecurity, currently affecting nearly 26 million people, and COVID-19 leaving an additional 6 million in extreme poverty. However, the UNDP believes that the region's abundant human, cultural and natural resources offer it immense potential for growth and shared prosperity. Here is Esrede, the UNDP country rep in the Gambia.
Tailored approaches are being deployed to reduce risk and vulnerabilities, prevent conflict, build resilience, transform economies, and put communities and the state on the sustainable development path. Interventions are varied according to local contexts, whether they are in or post-conflict, at risk or stable.
The new programmatic offer of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, for the Sahel region is a regeneration, implementing the United Nations Integrated Strategy for the Sahel, aimed at helping to unlock the socio-economic potential of the Sahel region for sustainable development. Serafin Wakana is the UN country coordinator.
We are looking to build whole of society integrated programs to strengthen resilience and promote peace and security in the country. You all know that I'm from Burundi, but have spent considerable time in the past few years in Guinea and now in the Gambia. Both countries are Sahelian countries, so the region is extremely close to my heart, and I'm exceptionally keen to witness its successful transformation.
With an agenda to move the Sahel from crisis to opportunity, the UNDP, in its development strategy for the Sahel, offers to focus on development catalysts such as governance, renewable energy and youth to transform the region. The ambition is to provide 150 million people with access to clean and affordable energy, mobilize 10 million young Sahelian youth, create 100,000 entrepreneurs, and plant 10 billion trees in the Sahel region. The Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Baje, commends the UNDP for the initiative, which he believes will uplift the living standard of many people.
The Sahel offer would no doubt be a platform or a program that, if successfully implemented, have the potential to be able to change things as they are at the moment. On behalf of the Ministry of the Youth and Sports, I want to assure the UNDP of our continuous support and collaboration in the work that we are doing, and in extension, the work of the UNDP in the country.
Thursday, scheduled for the global launching of this initiative, and is expected to attract hundreds of participants from across the region and around the world. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The Gambia recently got the perfect example of the contrast between urban traffic on a public holiday and a normal working day. On election day and a couple of days later, the contrast was stark. Zainab Hydra observed this, and this is her report.
Voting was a public holiday. Taxi and other commercial vehicles drivers kept their vehicles off the road, as they knew they would not have the usual steady stream of commuters and other passengers. So it was that on election day, roads were almost empty and people with errands to run did so without traffic congestion, but also without commercial vehicles to take them to their destinations. On election, we met David Correa, a student who says he has been standing on the highway for hours, tells us about his struggles.
The fear people have made them stay home. And for the drivers, it might be the message sent across by IEC that after voting, everyone should go home, which is affecting some of us that are on errands. As you can see, only few commercial vehicles are in the traffic.
However, just 4 days after election day, there is a dramatic change as traffic returns to normal and people are going about their daily errands. With this change comes a different set of problems. Mohammed Bai, a civil servant, says it is very difficult to get a vehicle, which affects most people's daily routine, leading to lateness of school students and civil servants.
When I close from work, afternoon times, I normally close at 2 or 3, but it always takes me up to like 4, 5 or 6 before I get to home. So comparing all the fatigue and then all that combined together, I find it very, very difficult.
Ibrahim William, a taxi driver, says the traffic is usually more congested in the afternoon towards evening. He explained some of the problems they encounter.
Drivers yi amuñ yoon boo xam ne pour mën leen jël customer yi pour yóbbu leen mu nekk yoon bu gaaw loolu du mun a am.
There aren't enough roads, which is a major concern, and passengers hardly understand that, as they always blame the drivers, and even if we use the back roads, our vehicles always have issues, and if we try using the normal road, we spend hours before reaching our destination.
This contrast between traffic on public holidays and working days is likely to be with us for a long time. All one can say is, if you are planning on traveling on either a public holiday or a working day, give yourself a lot of time to get to your destination for completely different reasons. For QTV News, I am Zainab Haider.
An interesting piece there by Zainab Haider, and I'm afraid it will lead us to the commercial break, but we'll be right back with some more local, international and sports news. Don't go away.
Fire, fire, fire. Dang doon xalaat pour am yére bu nice boy sol pour ajuma bi mbaate yeneen xew yi kon ñu ne leen Kara Creation benn lañ ci réew mi ñëw nañ pour rek saafaral seen jafe-jafe ci wàllum sol kon Kara Creation wax leen noo ko buggee rek ñu ñëwal la ko ci noo ko buggee kon ñu ne la Kara Creation am nañ bépp façon pièce boo bugga te it am nañ ay xaftaan yu ñëw ba pare pour rek ngeen mun a kontaan kon ñu ne leen Kara Creation seeti leen foofu sa Serekunda ñu ngi jàkkaarloo ak Black Market bi balaa police station bi mun nga leen a call si 5189 189 5189 189 Kara Creation, we provide quality.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from our short commercial break. Be reminded you're watching QTV News, coming to you live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, and I am Ansumane Sonyasi. Now, the history of incense can be traced back to ancient Egypt, Babylon, and Greece, where it is believed to have been used by priests for fumigating ceremonies and tombs. Fadusi Sanyang went out to discover its significance, especially in the Gambia.
Incense churai has become a favorite source of sweet fragrance, equally popular with women and men in Gambian society. The sweet fragrance and scent is usually soothing and welcoming. Thus, some people say they associate it with cleanliness and being sophisticated. Hadim Sise, an incense seller at Serekunda Market, reveals the importance of using incense.
Parce que doomu aadama boo mën di gis rek loo mën di am ci àdduna faaw sa xel mi nekk ci set te set dafa ànd ak xet bu neex.
Now is the ideal period of incense because the cold is fast approaching and women want their compounds and house to smell good. That is why people usually buy perfume and incense. Incense is something which is good for human beings because every human being, whatever you have in this world, your mind must think of cleanliness. And cleanliness goes along with good scent. Because a sweet fragrance is something that pleases and nourishes the heart and gives you good health. If you want a good scent, you have two options. Either use perfume or incense.
Modify, an incense lover, explains its relevance.
xet bu neex Yonent bi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam moo ko njëkk a bëgg ak saxaabaam kon kenn ku ci nekk ci ñun war nga bëgg xet bu neex.
Incense is essential, as we Africans should value our culture. You will see white people coming to Africa and use our things. Previously, Africans would take an ordinary stick and add some fragrance to it to freshen themselves. So if the white people are using and appreciating our incense, then what are we waiting for?
Yasohna Fai, who has been an incense seller for so many years, reveals that incense is frequently associated with married women, but takes a different view.
Cuuraay ñepp ko wara xéñu ndax soko xéño ni romb ma sax sama noogi day dekki damay noyi bu baax ma contane ki romb de lim xéñ neex na.
Some people put incense on their clothes. It is not only married women who should use incense. If someone uses incense and passes by me, I love the scent someone wears and comment on the scent that he or she is smelling good. Everyone likes sweet scents. Incense is a very important and can strengthen the bond and make a couple sleep peacefully. The importance of it can't be overemphasized in our African society.
Incense is a gum, spice, or other substance with its bond for the sweet scent it produces. The word incense comes from a Latin word incendere, meaning to burn. Even though burning incense has many benefits, there are also some health hazards associated with it, particularly for those with asthma. For QTV News, I am Fatou Sanyang.
An interesting piece there by Fatou Sanyang. And now on to some international news. And we now take a look at some tragic news. A fire outbreak in a Burundian prison have claimed the lives of at least 38 inmates, leaving dozens others with severe injuries. It is the second fire at the same prison this year. Babukar Si has the rest of that story.
The blaze that broke out at about 2 o'clock GMT on Tuesday also left more than 60 other prisoners injured and destroyed several areas of the facility. The country's Vice President, Prosper Bazumbanza, who visited the scene of the tragedy with several senior ministers, did not say what might have caused the fire. One inmate said prisoners perished in the flames, while witnesses said those with the most serious burns were being ferried to hospital in police and army pickup trucks. He accused the prison guards of refusing to open the cells when the fire started. We started shouting that we were going to be burned alive when we saw the flames rising very high, but the police refused to open the doors, the detainee said. Authorities in Burundi haven't yet released any details about the causes of the incident. However, local media reports more than 1,500 prisoners were held in overcrowded cells designed to hold 400. It is a common problem in the country and many African countries. In June, 5,255 prisoners received presidential pardons aimed at emptying overcrowded jails. At the time, there were nearly 13,200 people in prisons designed to house no more than 4,100. The same prison was struck by another fire in August, according to the Interior Ministry, which blamed it on an electrical short circuit. No casualties were reported from that incident. Babukar Si, QTV News.
From the report by Babukar Si, we'll take a look at sports news in a moment. Now, the Gambia Football Federation's head of competitions says even though the new football season, league season rather, has started, they still face challenges of the lack of pitches and security for matches. Our sports reporter Mouri Gajaga had a chat with GFF's Ibufai, and this is his report.
The new football season in the Gambia began a few weeks ago, and 2 matches have been played in the first division, while the second division is into week 3. Despite the start of matches, football pitches and security remain challenges for the GFF officials.
Well, that's the biggest challenge we have because, as you know, we embark on rehabilitating some of these grounds, but we did not meet, the dates that we should have completed these grounds, and because of the challenge of accessing the funds from FIFA. But now, because of the problem of last season and some of the stakeholders' criticism, which was very constructive, and we used that against FIFA. So FIFA realized that they are blaming us because of for our challenge of accessing these funds, and now the grounds have started.
14 teams compete in the first division across few venues, including the Independence Stadium, the late Usman Saho Field, and the Lifio Dream Football Complex in Basori. Several venues are undergoing renovation, including those in Brikama and Serekunda East. Ibu Fai says he expects the rehabilitation work on those grounds to be ready in a few months.
We have to manage. The league has to go on. The league is the #1 responsibility of the GFF. Apart from anything, is the only main responsibility of the federation. That's why we decided to just start the league, and hopefully by January, Birkama and Banjul will be completed, the artificial turf grounds, and the target date around April, the other grounds, grass pitches, will be completed. So for now, it's tough, but we must have to meet the challenge. It's expensive, especially going to summer, because clubs are compensated, provided with transport fares to go to summer. And as you know, the female league also is starting in January.
Despite the challenges in playing pitches, the new league campaign has seen some exciting matches, especially in the night games at the Independence Stadium. Fai says a good brand of football will attract a good crowd.
That's why we decided to rehabilitate all the grounds that we are using to make sure that they are standardized. All of them will be in the same standard, so that, you know, football can be played beautifully, and it attracts people when the football is good. You know, before, some of our grounds were not that good, but, you know, after the completion of the rehabilitation, football will be boosted.
Gambia's league football is not professionalized, and clubs often struggle for funding. Many league players earn very low wages, and others get what amounts to token payments.
It's very important, you know, to raise the standard of the league so that, you know, players can be scouted and taken out. And that will, you know, strengthen our national teams. And also, not only that, even economically, it will be good for the country, because the money they will bring back to the country.
Despite the poor nature of the league infrastructure, the talent on display is attracting some scouts, and a few players have been transferred to professional European clubs over the last football season. Mumudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Now, still on football, the Gambia women's under-20 national team opened their second round of FIFA under-20 World Cup qualifiers. Costa Rica 2022 with a 3-1 defeat away to Morocco in Rabat on Monday. The second leg is scheduled for Sunday, December 12, 2021, also in Rabat. Babukasi reports.
Fatoumata Jammeh's long-range shot was the consolation and only away goal the Gambia could score as they were beaten 3-1 by the Moroccans in Rabat. The girls left the Gambia with high hopes after comfortably edging out Burkina Faso to set up a date with Morocco. It was Sofia Buftini who opened the scoring for the host after 3 minutes before Mehi Kauthar increased the tally through a converted free kick a quarter into the first half. Things didn't get better for the Gambia as the host further punished their visitors, scoring through El Amrani Umaima in the second half. Gambia's coach Fodeba praised his side for their resilience against a strong opponent. He commended his team for showing commitment to contain the Moroccans in the second half.
There's no coach who's going to lose a game and say that I am happy, right? We've lost. I'm not happy about it. 3-1. The margin is too much, but the performance of the team, I was really happy with them, especially in the second half of the game. First half, we were a little bit dull, but when we came in the second half, I think we played extremely well. Sometimes when you lose games, people tend to say, the excuses, but when we came, we did 2 days before, we didn't acclimatize. The weather is too cold, and playing in the evening, it really, affected the goals. But this is football. They got the advantage, home ground advantage, because the weather is too cold. And again, the grass that we're playing, we've watered it. The ball was running so fast. And besides, we played against a very good Moroccan side. They were very prepared. I think I've watched their game against Ghana, a test game that they had, right? Then I knew that we're going to play with a very good team.
Surprisingly, though, the girls will be staying in Rabat and play the second leg on Sunday, December 12th, on the same ground. A move that has surprised many football enthusiasts as they lose the advantage of playing the second leg at home. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
And I'm afraid that is all about it, but before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for main headlines. We heard how the Gambia Armed Forces contribute to national security before, during and after elections. The UNDP is spearheading moves to tap into the enormous potential of the Sahel region countries, including the Gambia. We heard about the launch of the Sahel Offer. And we heard how about the contrast in negotiating traffic in the Gambia on public holidays compared to normal working days. In international news, we heard about a fire that caused death, injury, and devastation at a prison in Burundi. In sports news, a new football season may have kicked off, but we heard that many old problems remain. Also in sports, Gambia's under-20 women's football team got their two-legged World Cup qualifier off to a bad start with a loss away to Morocco. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition. Do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Until then, on behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Until then, bye for now.